welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate you being here with us Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I know some of you here in Central and Upstate New York are dealing with delays, and we've had some changes in schedules. So Prince Tyson Gully will be with us again very soon. His schedule changed this morning, and Adam Zaczkowski here is going to be with us in just a few moments. He's doing his daddy duty as well as Moyne men's and women's swimming and diving. They got a delay here. This is what I feel about 2-hour delays. Just cancel school. Just cancel for the day. You know, you got an hour delay, that's workable. You got a 2-hour delay, just cancel. You know, my school was notorious for the 2-hour delay and let's see what happens. And my mom's like, I got to go to work. My dad's already at work trying to figure things out. So hopefully y'all are doing well this morning. And I hope you get to enjoy a nice snow day because I don't know what those are anymore. I look outside and I'm like, well, I have my studio. I got my office. I look around at the snow and I'm like, I can still function. So I got to get my tail up and do what we do. And especially on a snow day while you're maybe plowing right now, you're watching this. Well, hopefully you're not watching if you're out there with your plow. You got to be paying attention, right? But if you are shoveling or out there doing your own driveway, or if you're out there on the snowmobiles this morning, I appreciate you watching and listening to Wake Up Call. And of course, for everybody out there at their job or at home or just woke up or out there at the gym, whatever you may be doing, we appreciate you being with us on Wake Up Call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com and facebook.com, both / Wake Up Call DT and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you so much for tuning in up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. And of course, we are here inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios, and we appreciate Great Lakes Honda City for being our exclusive studio partner. With that being said, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is what's popping. Adam Zaczkowski is going to be with us momentarily, picture in picture, to celebrate an historic moment for Moyne men's and women's swimming and diving, winning their first Division I contest in this young history in the transition from NCAA Division II to Division I, their historic first Division I victory coming at Canisius here just a few days ago. We'll talk with Adam about that and the season as a whole. And then in hour number 2, we'll get into my Ohio State Q&As as I had the opportunity to speak with Ohio State Buckeyes offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Chip Kelly, as well as defensive coordinator Jim Knowles ahead of the college football playoff historic 12-team national championship game. So with that being said, we'll go picture in picture here now with Mr. Zaczkowski here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And so with that being said, Adam, how are we doing today?
Dan, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me today. How have you been?
I've been doing well, and I appreciate the fact that not only do I appreciate the fact that we're celebrating history here today for someone who I feel is more than deserving, staff and student athletes that are more than deserving of having this history, but I appreciate, and I know I told you off the air a few times, including the day of, but the fact that you gave me a call. And, you know, I mean, I could have gone online and seen it. I was obviously on the road in Arlington, Texas, but, you know, I'm one of those old school people. I know you are as well. And a phone call after you had that first Division I victory from you means a lot to me. So I want to say thank you for that first and foremost.
Absolutely. I'm happy you could share in it as much as possible. You and I have been together since the beginning, right? And so you've watched the program mature and become more robust in what we do. And I wanted you to be as much a part as you could, knowing that you were on the road down at the football playoffs.
No, and I appreciate that. So I'd love for you to paint the picture of that victory at Canisius and bring us into that historic day for the program.
Yeah, so we had kind of circled that day on our calendar almost a year ago. We knew that we had some good guys coming in, and we knew that if there was going to be one, that could have been it. So, we kind of kept that in the back of our head the whole time. And then when we were in Cleveland for our midseason championships, we saw Canisius, and at that point on the men's side, we also beat them there. So we knew kind of initially that we had the shot. We knew we got him once already. And then, going into the meet, things were favorable in the fact that, we had a really good training period. Guys were real excited about it. And, we just went in there and swam where we had to and got out touch or pardon me, out touch them and were able to, win the events we had to do, win the events that we weren't supposed to, but we ended up doing it anyways. And it turned out to be, a victory for our men's side.
Yeah, and looking at that, like you said, you had circled this a year ago as something that you saw as this potential historic moment. What made you believe a year ago that this could be the moment for your team?
And we've talked in swimming about the fact that it's you and the other guy and stroke for stroke and the better swimmer should be there and we knew with kind of what we lost last year, what they lost, and then what we were bringing in. It's always hard to know what the other teams bring in, but we knew the quality of the athletes we had coming in to the season, and we knew that that was going to cause problems for a lot of the teams we swam against, right? And so, um, because of that, we had a good feeling about it. And also, our assistant coach Ben Verdi, he's he actually used to swim as a youth swimmer with the head coach of Canisius. So he's been kind of close with that program for a long time as well. And so he knew what they had, he knew what we had, and we just kind of put our heads together and knew that if it was going to happen this year, it was going to happen there.
Yeah, and for you, like you said, you had this kind of precursor to it because you faced them in your midseason, and so you kind of knew with Canisius, you saw some things,
Right.
and you had some opportunities there. So that kind of led into it. Bring me into the midseason that you had, and when you have a bunch of different schools at one meet, just what that experience was like, and beyond facing Canisius, just what that maybe does for a team to give you kind of a look mid season, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. So that midseason meet at Cleveland State was the weekend before Thanksgiving. And so we wanted to schedule our midseason championship before Thanksgiving so that we had the athletes home and not having necessarily compete after Thanksgiving and time with family.
Yeah.
But that meet at midseason, we kind of we were there when there was a couple top 25 teams there. And so on the women's side, Akron, on the men's side, Cleveland State. And so, they both were receiving top 25 votes. So when you're in that kind of level of competition and you're seeing swims of that quality, it helps you raise the bar. And you know that was the meet where we set 8 school records. So I knew that we had the potential to be fast this year. I know that we have the potential to score well in the NECs, and so that was kind of the foundational beginning of the process for us.
And for you to go through this season, I mean, this is year two in the transition to Division One. And for
Right.
those that don't know, it isn't something, when Lemoyne says a couple Mays ago, we're going to go Division One, it doesn't just snap the fingers and it happens. There's a process to it. It's a 4-year process as it stands right now. Bring me through from year one to year two now, and we're in year two right now, what this process has been like for you, because like you said, we've been together since the beginning. So I've
Right.
gotten to know, your personality and kind of your methodology and how you go about things. You're a very organized person. You're a plan ahead guy. And in certain cases, you couldn't plan ahead or you had to adjust. So bring me into now that we're in year two, what the process has been like for you, and if you've had to adjust any kind of scheming in the sense of how you go about planning things out.
So when we kind of first got the call back in May of 2023, I think it was at this point, that this was going to happen. And there was a lot of scurrying going on because we had to basically go from a Division 2 schedule to a Division 1 schedule. Thankfully we have some good partnerships, in the swimming community upstate New York, so we were able to fill our competitive calendar pretty quickly, and people were receptive to us. Um, and then that first class, so last year's freshmen, this year's sophomores, we had discussed with them that we thought this was going to happen. We didn't know when, we didn't know what form it was going to look, we didn't know whom we were going to be swimming against, but we knew that this was most likely going to be something that was going to happen in their career. Happen quicker than we had anticipated, but we weren't surprised by the news. Um, and so recruiting changes also. So what the level of athlete you need in a Division I setting versus Division II setting is different. The expectations are different. The sophistication of what we do had to change. The level of exactness also changed. Not that we weren't sophisticated or didn't have exactness, but it's one more click up.
Yeah.
And so with the this year's freshmen are they were, Division I the whole time. They knew that that's what they were looking for. That's what they wanted to, but has the Division I thing caused some problems? In a strange way, it has, because our upperclassmen, our senior leaders, they were here under the Division II process. They were here under one set of circumstances, and because they came in with something, we wanted, obviously, some of our talent is a little bit more on our underclassmen more than our upperclassmen, so we have a little bit of an inverted pyramid in terms of talent, but our leadership is strong. They've stepped up. Bilal Ali, Colby Randall on the men's side, and Gina Citadino and Alex Welver on our women's side have really stepped up this year in terms of being the emotional leaders and keeping everybody in track and keeping, this behemoth that we have of 50 athletes kind of contained as much as we can. And so, our senior leadership is strong, and our freshman and sophomore talent is strong, and that's where we are.
Here in this edition of the Dolphin Dive with Adam Zaczkowski, we are here speaking on Moyne men's and women's swimming and diving with the head coach following the first Division I victory. You talked about 50 student athletes and trying to corral that all together. I want to stop there for a second, because
Yeah.
when we look at different things in the collegiate world, in the collegiate model, when we talk about 50 plus, people are talking about football teams, but they don't always sit here and talk about swimming and diving. Almost never do you hear, right, the numbers of swimming and diving. So when we look at your team here at Moyne, essentially, you're the big team on campus when it comes to volume. How do
Right.
you corral that all together, and how do you and your staff kind of bring together these 50 student athletes toward a common goal, knowing that they're doing different things, and obviously there's different pieces and different elements, but to bring this all together into one family?
As crazy as it sounds, and of course I'm looking on my desk right now, but we use paper calendars, and we have everything pre-planned out, and it's about communication. The way we look at it is that we have to over communicate everything we do, and we have to communicate in different ways, because everybody receives those messages differently, and I'm sure you understand that better than most people. And so, we have calendars hanging in the locker room. We give everybody their paper calendars. We have it published online. We have, group chat, group text, emails, whatever it takes to try to get that message of planning across. But, when you're dealing with a squad that large, kind of a couple things that we struggle with. We can't put everybody in the pool at the same time. We can't have diving and swimming at the same time. We can't have all 50 in the water at the same time. So we have to run multiple sessions a day. That's not uncommon in the swimming world. So that kind of goes with the territory. Um, and then, obviously, catering orders become much more complicated when you're trying to deal with 50. But it's one of those things. As long as we have a long enough runway, we can handle most things.
Yeah.
Uh, we just got back from Florida with our training trip, and yeah, buying 50 plane tickets at a time. Well, actually, the travel group was 52. And then, securing vehicles and all of those things that you have to do with that number of people. It just takes longer. We always talk about the fact that when you're traveling with 52, your closest friends, things just take longer. So we have to get to the airport earlier. It's going to take longer to get people from back and forth. It just things take time, and you have to be patient.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that you don't even think about, right? All those plane tickets and the catering orders and all those pieces to it. There's a lot of things that go into it. How did you become this way? Because, you said we have paper calendars. which I do, and I'm like, it's funny because in my office I have one of those mega calendars where I put on it, who's on the show, like what am I doing? That's all my work stuff. And then I have a calendar in my home that is in my kitchen, and in my kitchen I have like a smaller calendar that I write down, the meetings that I have and the things that I have to do and the games that I'm going to and whatnot, so I kind of know where I need to be. Well, I usually get a calendar for Christmas. I didn't get one this year. So every day that I walk into that room, I'm like, because you and I are cut from the same cloth in this respect, I'm like, okay, I got a calendar in my office. But when I go to my house, I don't have a calendar there. I don't have a calendar that's in the kitchen. So I look at that one, it says December, but I want to write stuff for January, so I need to go out and get a calendar. And it's like on my head, but I've been traveling a lot for the college football playoff. And then I come back home. I've been under the weather, so I haven't gotten out and gotten a calendar. But I value it so much that at 39 years old, I'm still walking into my kitchen going, every day I'm like, you need to get that calendar. Like, you need to feel better so you can get the calendar. So like, how did you become like this, where you are the paper and a pen? Because I tell people all the time, and when I get asked this question of like, if you were on a stranded island and you had food and you had water and this and that, what would you bring with you besides that? And I say my dog Lily, and then beyond that I say a pen and a pad, because there's nothing that'll ever supersede that. Why are you that way?
Well, in the swimming world, I started obviously my athletic career has always been in swimming, but my coaching career started in the USA Swimming realm. And with USA Swimming, everything is planned. They call it the quad system, or a 4-year plan that coincides with the Olympics. So when you're planning out, club swimming in the United States, everything starts, in 2020, and now we're in the 2028 LA Games. Now we're working backwards, right? And so as you're building your seasonal plan, your quad plan, right? So how am I going to get to where I got to go in 4 years? Then what do I got to do in 3 years, 2 years, 1 year? And so how do you build that model? And so we basically have kind of taken that same idea of, it's a little bit, it's kind of a rolling 4 years, because we have freshmen who are going to be out of here in 4 years that may or may not coincide with the Olympics. But the idea is that we know that we're looking at a 4-year plan with every athlete. And we know that we are trying to get to their penultimate athletic ability, really as a senior. We want them to be fast as freshmen, but it takes time to develop the strength and the emotional gumption and the intestinal fortitude you need to do to kind of become that athlete that you're going to be in 4 years. And so that leads to planning obsessively over certain things. And then you can't see behind me over here, but I have a 120-day rolling calendar. So I know that, we're basically looking at finals at the end of the school year, 120 days from now. Yeah. So, we have already pre-planned out through March, through May. We know what all that stuff looks like. And so it's just about planning and keeping everybody on track and getting, like what we talked about earlier, over communicating so everybody knows exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot to do that. I mean, you're a husband, you're a father of two. You have, men's and women's swimming and diving, which is so many different elements within itself. So how did you become like this? Was there someone in your life that just kind of taught you before you got to the professional realm, like, in order to get things done to the best of my ability, Adam, this is what I do, and I go through the process of, breaking things down? Did you have people in your life that kind of taught you how to be a planner, taught you how to be methodical and to put things in their places ahead of time? Because there's a lot of people that fly by the seat of their pants. And it's funny because whenever I meet somebody new, they're like, what type of person are you? And I said, I'm like half organized, half I love to be spontaneous, and I kind of meld them together. So was there somebody in your life that taught you how to kind of do this ahead of the professional realm of the Olympics and United States and all that?
I'm going to say it's my parents. My parents foundationally were the ones that kind of taught me these skills, right? And then along the way you meet teachers and coaches that kind of also instill some of these life plans, right? So I mean, my mom is the one that probably was the driving force, not that my dad wasn't, but you know how it goes. And then, my high school coach, Bruce Jaffe, from Fairfield Prep in Connecticut, and then Coach Hannah here at Moyne, kind of taught me about the importance of planning. Even when you look at a college syllabus and you're taking your college classes, those are all broken out typically in 13 weeks, so you know what you're looking at. And so
Yeah.
I think if you kind of add all of that together, for some reason that makes my brain sing, Dan. I don't know why, but having, kind of just being able to be organized and orderly, it's the way that I've always been. And then, you try to teach those kind of habits to your children, and then that's what we're doing with Noah and Owen. Noah's behind me over here. We got our 2 hour delay today, so we got that bus coming in about a half hour, but he's learning about calendars, and he's learning about, timing and all the things that kind of go about that, so that, hopefully we can instill these into his core memories, so that he's organized when he gets older too.
Yeah, and shout out to Noah and Owen and your
One.
wonderful wife as well. And
Yeah.
so, and we appreciate obviously the family here. And to going back to the victory here, 139-102 for the first Division One victory for men's swimming and diving. On the other side of it, the women's team drops 166-76. What can you say going back into that Division One win for the men? Just to go a little bit deeper into it, and shout out to Noah who's on the screen right now. So, what can you say to go a little bit deeper into that, and then what positives did you see from the women's team as you step forward?
Right. So, you know, the way that scoring works in swimming, is each place has a certain time, or pardon me, a certain point. So in individual races, where we have a certain number of guys and they've got a certain number of guys, the scoring is 9 points for first place, 4 for second, 3 for third, 2 for fourth, and 1 point for five. So if you don't win the event, you can't win the points for the event. So you have to get first. If you get first, you can the best the other team can do is get 9 points. So you can win 10-9. And so it basically is a preponderance of points that sets it out, right? And so, you know, when all the data is published online, so we know exactly who their guys are. They know who our guys are. We knew times. We knew that there were going to be certain events where we knew we could win or we had to win.
Yeah.
There were certain events where we knew that it just wasn't going to be there. They just stacked up better against certain events than we did. And so, we sat down and pulled all the data and really developed a lineup where we thought that had everything gone our way, we were going to win. And it's pretty clear that that's what happened. Um, you know, and, and also, it's swimming and diving. And yeah, I'm a swim guy, but our divers on both the men's and the women's side stepped up. I mean, we've had two swim meets, two swim and dive meets in the last 5-6 days, and our divers won both. Our divers swept Canisius and our divers swept LIU. So, it's a total team effort, and having the guts to go out there and put yourself in a position. I mean, swimming's hard. It hurts. It's physically painful,
Yeah.
and having the ability to push past that pain and put yourself in a position where not only are you winning, but you're helping the team. And the other thing we talk about lots of time, Dan, is we've got green caps, right? And lots of times we talk about going out there and beating another, the other team's cap, right? So Canisius was white, LIU was white. So we talk about going out there and trying to out touch a white cap, right? Do your part, no matter if you're going to win or lose. If you're winning the event or not, go out there and beat somebody else on the other team, get those points, and all those little scrappy things that we did are what really sets the difference. We fell a little short Monday against LIU, and it really came down to 4 races.
Yeah.
We got out-touched in 4 races. The opposite was true of Canisius. We out-touched them in 4 races. And so these things come down to hundredths of a second, And those hundredths of a second, you do enough of them, they turn into a win or they turn into a loss. And we were right knocking on the door with LIU, and there's a couple races that come to mind that just didn't go our way, and that turned out to be the difference of that meet.
Yeah.
You asked me about the women's team. The with where things have gone with Title IX and women's sports, there's a lot of schools that have a lot of resources in their women's swimming and diving teams because they're offsetting men, especially football. And so, there's a lot of teams out there that have a lot of resources in the women's side, and we're getting better. But we are in a position now where we're building for the future, and so our women are a little bit behind the men. But next year's incoming class, we have eight women coming in from around the country, and another Canadian. And I think we're going to see that surge in our women's team, starting August 29th.
Yeah, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the opportunity of the continued growth of both the men's and the women's side. And LIU, you made mention of that, which was this past Monday, a couple days ago. Such
Yep.
a close when it comes to point total, like you said, 4 races, a touch off, 158 to 136. You're going to
Right.
be here in central New York for the next two meets. Niagara is going to be January 25th, Saturday at 1 p.m.
Yep.
at the pool, the Reverend Vincent B. Ryan S.J. Pool at Moyne. And then Cornell will be in Syracuse at Nottingham High School on February 1st, which is also Saturday at 1 o'clock. So both of these home for you essentially, one at home, and then one not too far away from home down the road. Just what you can say to the fact that before we get into the NEC championships, you have the opportunity to be here in Syracuse, New York for your next two meets against Niagara and Cornell, and what it's going to be like to be home and not have to, right now, until you go back to Geneva, Ohio, have to buy 50 plane tickets.
Yeah. It's funny, home meets are nice because we get to sleep in our own bed. We can control certain things. It's also nice being on the road because I can also get rid of distractions. So there are positives to both. But at the end of the day, having that home meet, our senior day is on the 25th. That's always an emotional day. Getting those seniors through that 4-year period, and having the families here, it'll be a highly an emotional day. It's you build these relationships with your teammates, and the good news is the seniors graduate. The bad news is the seniors graduate, and so you have to continue to replenish. And every team has its own personality, its own things that they push for, that they want, that they work towards, and and then following up at Cornell, at Nottingham, and that's just going to be a really fun meet. Cornell's going to be in the top of the Ivy this year, and again, some of the Ivy schools have gotten some top 25 votes this year. So
Yeah.
we're talking about top 50 program in the country, and when you're able to compete against that level of program, right? Recruiting becomes easier. Hey, listen, this is what we can do. We're not afraid. We're going to swim anybody, anywhere, anytime, regardless of what we think the results are going to be. And when you're able to bring in these better schools, you get more eyeballs, you get more interest, and it just allows for us to continue to grow the program.
That coming here from Adam Zaczkowski here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, celebrating an historic moment. NCAA Division I first victory in D1 for Moyne when it comes to the men's swimming and diving side. So, with that being said, I want to jump into rapid fire here quick. You get to ask the first question, sir. What do you got for me?
Okay. We'll get into your second segment here with Ohio State and Notre Dame. Where do you think this is going next Monday? Is it who do you think is going to come out on top, Notre Dame or Ohio State? The Ohio State.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one because when I made my final prediction ahead of the first game being played, I had Texas winning my bracket, and inside of my stomach and in my brain, there was this thought process of Ohio State probably, like if they get to the end of this thing, you're not going to be surprised. And I felt that inside of me because I thought about him like, do I pick him here? Do I not pick him? And so, am I surprised that Ohio State's there? No. Am I surprised Notre Dame is there? Yes, I am. Riley Leonard is somebody that I got to know. Their quarterback was choosing between Duke and Syracuse back in the day. He's from Alabama, and him and I had a conversation way back when. I actually found it, so I'm probably going to rebroadcast that conversation. But I'm really happy for Notre Dame. I'm happy for Marcus Freeman. I have a newfound respect for him. Definitely respect Riley Leonard, respect their defense. Ohio State has been tremendous. I was at their game against Texas down in Arlington at AT&T Stadium, the home of the Cowboys, for the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. So, I mean, honestly, feet to the fire. I don't know if anybody can beat Ohio State right now. I would like to see Notre Dame because of how long I've known Riley and because my good friend Jimmer Zaczkowski, he is a massive fan, and my buddy Jack, Jimmer's son, goes to Notre Dame. So personally, there's that heartstrings there. And then as an impartial broadcaster, I think if Notre Dame is going to beat Ohio State's going to have to make some mistakes because they are a very dangerous team. So if I had to pick right now, I'd probably pick Ohio State. My question back to you. All right, since Noah's in the room right now, what is your favorite memory with Mr. Noah?
Ooh, that's a good one, I think. Well, I think my favorite memory, Dan, is my first memory. Noah was born November 21st, 2016, correct? Right? And I remember the day vividly, not because he was born, but was also one of those freak November snowstorms where we had 40 inches of snow. So I remember snow blowing my driveway as Aaron was getting ready to go to work.
Yeah.
We had, 20 inches of snow. I come inside. She goes, "Oh my God, my water broke." And I'm like, "Oh, all right. I guess it's happening today." And so we go to the hospital. It's surreal, this whole process, because you go to the hospital with two people in the car typically, right? I was driving, Aaron was in the passenger seat. And so, we're there for the day, watching the snow pile up. And along comes Noah. And so at that point I went home for the evening, so I had to snow blow my driveway to get into the house. And and then any Central New Yorker knows you kind of like jam in past the snow drift, get your car stuck, dig it out, get into your driveway. And then I leave the next morning and I have to snow blow for a third time in 24 hours to get back to the hospital. But the biggest memory, Dan, is like I said, Aaron and I went in the car with two people and the miracle of life, and we left that hospital with three people. And it still gives me chills to think about it because that's what this is about. And having family and being able to positively affect him in his life as he continues to get older and mature and go through school. And so that's the biggest lasting memory was the first day.
Wouldn't expect any more eloquent of an answer as you always give them here from Adam Zaczkowski, celebrating that, the miracle of life, going to the hospital with two, coming back, and there's another person in the car. So beautiful thing there. Noah, I tried to get you a full snow day. I really did. I tried to make this as long as I could and help you out here. Just get it all the way to that brink and just hope that something on the ticker was going to show you that you didn't have it. But if you do have school today, go out there, learn the best that you can. School is a great thing, and there's a lot to learn. So go have fun with your classmates. Mr. Zaczkowski, congratulations on the victory, but more than anything else, thank you for being here at Le Moyne. Selfishly, personally, and professionally, I feel spoiled to have crossed paths with you and know you. So I'm happy that you're here. Shout out to all the men's and women's swimming and diving student athletes at Le Moyne. Thank you for your work. Please go easy on Adam when he's trying to plan out the food for each of these meets. And of course, we welcome you all home and hope we can see you on Saturday, January 25th for Senior Day and on Saturday, February 1st as well. For now, for Adam and Noah, I bid you guys adieu in this edition of the Dolphin Dive. Have a great day and stay safe.
Thanks for having us, Dan. We'll see you soon. Have a wonderful day.
All right, take care. that coming from Adam Zaczkowski and his son Noah. Of course, we give a shout out to Owen and his wife Erin and the whole Zaczkowski family, and celebrating this first Division I victory, historic first Division I victory happening for the men's swimming side of things. As these meets, how they work, like Adam and I were talking about, there's different elements to the meets, and there's the men's side for swimming and diving, and there's the women's side for swimming and diving, and it all, comes together. And so they got a victory on the men's side. The women's side did not get a victory in that. But as we look for things to expand here in this transition to Division I, we look forward to the men's side continuing to do well, and the women's side continuing to grow and blossom as well on their end. And then, they had very close opportunity against LIU point-wise as well when they came home for that, to almost get a victory over LIU, which is definitely huge. So I look forward to seeing men's and women's swimming, diving continue to grow, and I hope that you can all make it out for Senior Day on Saturday, January 25th, to Lemoyne's Pool on campus on the Heights in Syracuse, New York, right off of Erie Boulevard, Saturday, January 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, we're going to take a step aside. Coming up in hour number 2, Ohio State, my conversations with the offensive and defensive coordinators ahead of the College Football Playoff National Championship.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Zaczkowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allow customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. And in a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Here hanging out with you, for some of you a snow day, for some of you a 1 hour delay, a 2 hour delay, whatever it may be. I hope you're staying safe. The weather was a little bit bad coming out of the dome yesterday for the Syracuse Orange men's basketball game, but was the weather as bad as the game itself? No, the game was terrible. And Syracuse lost the game 85-61. They drop under 500. Overall, again, this season, they're now 8-9 on the season through 17 games. And Adrian Autry's second season as head coach, and they are 2-4 in the ACC. So it has been a tough road. And you sit here and say you're at the midpoint of the regular season because, a little bit over the midpoint because you play about 31 regular season games before you get into the ACC tournament. So you got 14 games left. But here's the thing about the ACC tournament, for those of you that don't know. The ACC tournament had a spot for all 15 schools when they were 15 schools. They had a spot for all 15, right? Now that they've expanded to 18 schools with the addition of SMU, Cal, and Stanford, they did not expand to 18. So for the first time in a long time, the ACC tournament will not have every team advance to play in their postseason tournament. So if Syracuse falls outside of the top 15, they won't be going to the ACC tournament, which means that their season ends earlier. So, teams hope for the NCAA tournament, the NIT, the CBI to go somewhere. Well, now with the expansion of these conferences, they don't have to keep a spot for everybody. So the ACC having 18 schools is not changing their 15-team ACC postseason tournament format, which means that 3 schools are not going to be going to the postseason for the ACC. And if you're not going to go to that, right, and you need that to try and get to the NCAA tournament or to show to CBI or show the NIT that you deserve a spot, you're going to be out early, and you'll be out at the beginning of March. You'll be out before March 10th of any postseason. The season will be over, which is insane because these conference tournaments years and years ago were like, okay, we're going to take everybody. Now, not all of them do, but that some conferences were like, yeah, we're going to make a spot for every single team. And yeah, the 15 seed out of 15 is probably going to lose in the first round, but if they don't, they make a run, you never know what's going to happen. And there have been teams that have made runs. There's teams that have had losing records that won their conference tournament and got an automatic bid in the NCAA tournament. It has happened. But in the case of the old format of the ACC, I should say, with the new addition of the teams, not changing their format means for the first time in a long time, not every ACC team is going to make it. So if Syracuse continues to struggle in the ACC, they might find themselves outside of not just the NCAA tournament, but the ACC tournament as well. And I want to take a look at the current ACC standings right now as we have some time before my Q&As are aired with Ohio State this morning. So coming off of Syracuse Orange men's basketball's abysmal game last night, we take a look at the current ACC standings, and with the ACC standings of now 18 schools, like I said, now that they've expanded, we take a look at where we're at here in the standings for the ACC overall, and going down the line 1 through 18, this is what the ACC currently looks like. Duke is 1. They're the only team undefeated in the ACC. They're 7-0. Clemson is 2, and this is losing a bunch of talent that had finished up their eligibility. They're 6-1. Louisville, who just defeated Syracuse, is 3rd, who improves to 6-1. And then Wake Forest has jumped from the bottom to the top. They're 4-1. North Carolina's 4-1. Pitt's 3-2. SMU in their first season in the ACC is 3-2. Stanford in their first season in the ACC is 3-2. Florida State's 2-3. NC State's 2-3. Virginia Tech's 2-3. Like I said, Syracuse 2-4. Notre Dame is 2-4. They face off against each other this Saturday in the Dome. So one of those teams, either Syracuse is going to stay above Notre Dame, or Notre Dame is going to pass Syracuse. Georgia Tech, who beat Syracuse, is 2-5. So if they end up tied, they have the tiebreaker. And then Cal in their first season in the ACC is 1-4. Virginia's 1-4 without Tony Bennett. Boston College 1-5. And Jim Larinaga, who left during the season here in 2024-25, Miami's last at 0-6. So if the ACC tournament happened today, Virginia, Boston College, and Miami would be watching the ACC tournament from home. So Syracuse right now, we look from the bottom to the top. Miami's 18, Boston College 17, Virginia 16, Cal is 15, Georgia Tech is 14, Notre Dame is 13. Syracuse is currently the 12 seed if the ACC tournament was to be played today. So John Taylor coming to us from Honolulu, Hawaii. Well, good morning to John. Proud to have you with us. We're going to have Ohio State coming up in just a few moments. I do want to play my Q&As that I had with Syracuse after the game. I'm going to start with my Q&A with Adrian Autry and let you listen in to what Adrian had to say after the game. How many new faces, not just in this game, but overall, what are you seeing from the returners, and leadership-wise, maybe what your takeaways are right now?
You know, I think the guys that all returned are in different roles. You know, JJ now is the guy. I think, you know, that's something that, you know, you can't take lightly. You know, you got to shoulder it, you know, good or bad, and you got to be there, and, you know, you got to depend on you. And, you know, you just got to keep playing through stuff when it's not going your way when you're the guy. I think Kyle has made strides, you know, being tough, bringing in energy, you know, making some shots, you know, just doing all the things that we need. And, you know, Chris Bell is, you know, obviously, you know, he played better today, but, you know, none of that stuff really matters when you lose like this. But again, for him, you know, the ball went in, so hopefully we can continue to get him consistent. He's been a little bit inconsistent this year, so, you know, that's what I have on those guys.
And as well as JJ and Chris, the guys that return on this. And just speaking on the fact, I mean, Chris had 18 points yesterday, speaking of Chris Bell, but what stood out to me is he had no rebounds. Not he had no offensive, no defense. He had no rebounds. And this was an issue that Boeheim had when Chris Bell came in. Just he's a forward that ends games without a rebound. And so 18 points is great, but you know, this team continue, and the thing that sticks with me with Syracuse and Syracuse basketball right now, and the unfortunate pardon me, is that Syracuse basketball on the men's side, they're making the same mistakes that they were making under Coach Boeheim. So it doesn't matter that they've changed defenses. It doesn't matter that they've changed personnel. The theme of Syracuse basketball is still the same. No offensive plays, chucking up shots, not making good looks, not rebounding, not boxing out. I mean, there's certain things that Syracuse has been known for when Boeheim was the coach and now that Adrian Autry is the coach that haven't changed. They take their first shot on offense, they think it's going in every time. Michael Jordan missed a ton of shots. But these guys shoot the ball and then they go down the floor. There's not even there are possessions where there's not even an attempt. Not even an attempt. The shot goes up and everybody else runs down the floor. The shooter shoots the shot, he starts to go down the floor, and the other 4 guys follow him. Syracuse has gotten beaten, and the thing is, statistically, some of these games, it's like smoke and mirrors. You look at them and it's like Syracuse had 1 less offensive rebound than the other team, and you're like, there's no way that was possible, because you watch the game and you're like, this team seemed like they had 20 and Syracuse seemed like they had 2. But, and that's why statistics doesn't always kind of tell the tale of the game itself all the way through. Syracuse, when it comes to offensive rebounding, was horrendous with Jim Boeheim in a lot of ways in recent history, and they've been horrendous under Adrian Autry. Just absolutely horrendous. And there's like little tiny fun. There's like these are basic fundamentals of basketball. Like I grew up playing basketball. I picked up my first basketball at 3. I played organized basketball at 7. There's things that I learned, and I got recruited D3. I'm not going to sit here and say I got recruited D1. I got recruited D3. I'm 5'8" and I can shoot. So when I learned the sport of basketball, there was a bunch of things that we learned in high school. Things that these guys apparently don't have to know. And I'm not going to blame the student athletes. I look at Adrian Autry, I look at the coaching staff, and I say, why don't they know how to break a press? Why don't they know fast break? Like, why don't they have plans for a fast break? Do they have plans for a fast break? Do they have offensive plays that they just don't run? Do they have out-of-bounds plays that they just don't run? Do they have pick and rolls that they just don't run? Did you teach anybody how to box out? Does anyone know what a rebound is offensively? I mean, there's so much frustration. And a guy like Kyle Cuff Jr. sitting on the bench, dude was trying to help last year. They wouldn't let him. Now they're letting him help a little more this year, but I don't understand what he had to do to get out there on the floor, because he's the guy that's being tenacious. He's the guy that's going inside. He's trying to get a shot up. He's trying to defend. He's trying to help. You need a guy like that. You lost Malik Brown, and Malik Brown was the guy. He was the nucleus of the team. He was the guy that gave you the effort, that went out there, that did everything. And I said they can't afford to lose him. If they lose, and these were my words, if they lose Malik Brown, then they've lost their nucleus. They've lost the most important part of their team. And the other person that they couldn't lose was Q. And they lost Q because Q was a good point guard. And to me, they didn't let him play point guard. They let him play point guard sometimes, but not enough. And so to me, looking back with Quadir Copeland and Malik Brown, losing those 2 guys was losing the essence of your team's future, in my opinion. And that's no disrespect to Bell or Cuff or Starling, and really no disrespect at all to Cuff. They rarely let him play. But J.J. Starling, I mean, he's a guy who didn't get enough shots. And I still don't think, and again, I don't know what the offensive plays are, if there are any offensive plays, but working the ball to get J.J. open. He only had 4 points in the game last night. And so a very quiet performance from J.J. Starling. And then, like I said, Bell had almost 20, but he's not rebounding. It's like, do these guys know what positions they're playing? Do they know what they're supposed to be? There's just fundamental basketball. And if I'm Adrian Autry right now, I'm breaking it down in practice and saying, this is what my guards are like. By and large, guards are supposed to make free throws, supposed to be the best free throw shooters on the team. My forwards and my centers are supposed to be able to rebound. There's basic things that you guys are supposed to be able to do. Now, yes, I want my guards to rebound, and yes, I want my forwards and my centers to make their free throws, but my guards, you got to be 80% from the charity stripe. My Cuff, my JJ, y'all got to be 80% from the charity stripe, okay? And then when you go beyond that, and you look at some of these other pieces, it's like your forwards and your centers have to be rebounding. Eddie Lampkin Jr. got a double-double in the game last night, and it was a quiet double-double because the game was awful. Syracuse scored 61 points, and when you looked at the stat sheet, I was trying to figure out how it added up to 61 because it was such an abysmal performance. There was a run that made it 31-27, and then after that, there was a 12-0 run that happened on the side of the visiting team up against Syracuse and Louisville. And then in the second half, it was like Syracuse came out in the second half, not even knowing that they were supposed to play the second half. Immediately, Louisville took charge. And if I'm Louisville's staff and their student athletes and I'm watching this game, I'm like, this team doesn't even want to be here. There's no morale in this team. Like, let's just go easy on them. We beat them by 24, but we could have beaten them. We could have beat them by 40. I just and I'm not sitting here trying to knock Syracuse. I'm trying to state something that you already see. I question the coaching. I question the scheming. I question the planning. I question the effort. I question the enthusiasm. I question the leadership because none of it's there. And I've watched this basketball team my entire life. And I don't see any fight in these guys. I see no fight. I honestly see a bunch of people that are kind of just over it. Like if they could end the season right now, they would. That's what it feels like to me. It doesn't feel like a team. It feels like a bunch of guys that are going to be in the transfer portal next year saying, why am I here? You know, and my job is to be an impartial broadcaster. I'm from Syracuse. I love Syracuse. I've watched Syracuse athletics my whole life. I have a lot of love and support for them. I care about these guys. But in caring about you, sometimes you have to give that tough love, right? You know, I had to get that tough love. I showed up late to something before, and one of my friends was really hard on me, but he needed to be because I was wrong. And in the case of this, and my parents have been hard on me when I've been wrong about something, when I've been late about something, they'll come and they'll talk to me and they'll give me that tough love. You know, you're worrying too much about this. You're stressing about this. You need to let it go. You know, my parents have had to give me that tough love. And if you really care about something, you care about someone, you give them that tough love. And here's my tough love for Syracuse basketball. Where is your effort? Where is your enthusiasm? Where is your fun? You guys aren't having fun out there. You don't even look like you want to be around each other. You got guys in the locker room, get up, look around, they walk out. The media used to come into the locker room at the end of the game, and as soon as that door opened, every single student athlete was sitting at their locker ready for the media to come and talk to them. Now, they don't sit at their lockers. Now, they come out, there's a bunch of chairs set up, and they can either sit or they can leave. Nobody stops them. Adrian doesn't stop them. The coaching staff doesn't stop them. Syracuse's information staff doesn't stop them. Athletic communications doesn't stop them. And to me, that's wrong on all parts. Because the athletic communication department should be stopping them and saying, like, you guys got to sit down and you got to deal with this. Like, I understand you lost. I understand it sucks, but you got to do interviews. Like, when I started covering Syracuse basketball at the beginning of my career over 20 years ago, and then I came back home over a decade ago, when I came into that Syracuse locker room, everybody was there. Everybody was there. And if they weren't there, the athletic communication staff was like, hey, get to, you know, they were looking at them like, hey, there was structure. There was a plan. Now there's no plan for media interviews. There's no plan. I mean, the guys can just walk out. And this is my thing. If you can look around the locker room and you can see your teammates talking to the media and you're like, I don't want to talk to the media today. I'm pissed. I didn't play that much. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm going to transfer next year. Whatever the reason may be, and you just walk out. I remember when a guy would walk out that there were people on the Syracuse staff, I feel like they would go get them and like send them back in and say, nah, man, the media's still in there. You have to come back. I remember one time one of the guards left and it was so atypical, but now you can just leave. You can just walk out. I think back on this, I'm like, there were probably days where some of these guys didn't want to talk to the media, but they had to. Nowadays, I've gone into the locker room, there's 2 guys in there, 2-3 guys in there. Everybody else left because they didn't feel like talking to the media. What type of policies do we have, and what are we doing? What has become Syracuse Orange men's basketball? If you don't have to talk to the media, if you don't have to face things, if you don't have to be there with your teammates at the end of the game, if you don't have to rebound during a game, if you don't have to box out during a game, if you don't have to know plays, if you don't have to understand any of that stuff, if you don't have to make your free throw, what have we become for Syracuse Orange men's basketball? What has this group become? If you don't have to do the things that show that there's some type of a plan, right? You go to practice, you prepare, you watch film, you work out, you run, you lift your weights, you eat right, you get all your nutrition set, you go into the game, you execute the plan that coach and the staff have put forward. When the plan doesn't work, you have a plan B, then you have plan C, all the way to plan Z. You have a bunch of different things that you could do. You guys trust each other, you work together, you smile, you have fun even when you're losing. When you watch Syracuse basketball, and then you go watch a Duke game, and then you go watch a Gonzaga game, and then you go watch a Michigan, If you go and watch other teams, they're having fun. Even when they're losing, they're having fun. They're laughing, shaking their head. Can't believe that was a foul. Ha ha, good job, coach. And pat the ref on the back and say, all right, man, I'll get you next time. They're enjoying the game. Teams are not out of games. I've watched games where a team's down by double digits, they come back because they believe in each other. They believe in themselves. They believe in their coach. I don't see that on this Syracuse team. I see a little bit of effort, but I don't see maximum effort. And I'm not saying anything that people aren't seeing. I'm not trying to be hard on the team. I'm trying to love up on the team here in a tough way and say, this is not Syracuse basketball. And everybody knows it. The fans have let you know. Those fans yesterday, the fans that showed up in the Dome, God bless you. Because there were so many open seats. And Syracuse gave away free t-shirts yesterday. They were green t-shirts. Do you know how many open seats there were? I saw so much green in the Dome, and I could only see it if you weren't sitting in your seat. There was nobody. When you look at the court, there was the bleachers that they have on the other side that they set there on the field. There was a bunch of open spaces. In the 300 section, there's nobody up here. There's no one over there. There's all this. There were courtside seats that were wide open. People pay a lot of money for those seats. And they were like, nah, I'm not even coming to watch this game. And maybe they couldn't come. Maybe they had a wedding. Maybe the weather was bad. Whatever. But there was too many open seats to say that every single one of those people had a prior engagement. They didn't want to be there. And when a team loses by 24 and there's almost no effort in the second half, I'm not surprised. And I'm frustrated. But I'm not surprised that fans are like, nah, man, I'm going to stay at home and watch this garbage. Because that's what it is. It's been garbage. It's been an atrocity of what Syracuse basketball is supposed to be. Syracuse basketball, historically, even when they're bad, they ain't that bad. Even when they're bad, they're just outside of the NCAA tournament. When they're bad, they're 18 wins. When they're bad, they're 19 wins. When they're bad, they're 20 wins. When they're bad, the NCAA tournament selection committee can't explain to Jim Boeheim why they're not in it in those seasons when they were quote-unquote bad. They win 25 games. They're doing their thing. But Syracuse is struggling. And they were struggling against teams that they normally annihilate. And what did I say? If they struggle against those teams they normally blow out, they're going to get blown out by the good teams. And what happened? They went and played Texas, and they got embarrassed. And they went and played Texas Tech, and they got embarrassed. They didn't lose, or they lost against good teams in a big way because they can't hang with those teams, because they can't hang with the other teams. Colgate's had their number, and they almost had their number again. Moyne is in their second year in transition to Division I, and Nate Champion's doing a hell of a job, and he did a hell of a job in Division II. Moyne was a better decision on a last possession away from beating Syracuse to start the season in the Dome. This Syracuse Orange men's basketball team, you can't sit here and blame it and say, well, it's all a bunch of new guys playing together, because that's what Memphis is, and Memphis is good. So you can't make the excuse. I remember when they said Syracuse lost a bunch of games in the COVID year in 2020, and they were talking about, oh, well, Dino, and when they were talking about the football team, they're, oh, Dino and this football team, they've had to go through hell here, and, they've had to go through COVID. The entire country went through COVID. You can't make an excuse and say, oh, man, we were dealing with this thing that everybody else was dealing with, because the Blue Bloods, most of them, were still good, but Syracuse wasn't. And you look at, well, guys are transferring and guys are changing up. Well, Duke's still winning. Duke's still figuring it out. Well, Coach K's not there anymore. Duke's still figuring it out. So you can't sit here and say, no Jim Boeheim, that's why they lose. Well, why is Duke winning? No Roy Williams, well, that's why North Carolina loses. Well, why is Hubert Davis doing some good things? Florida's back out here doing their thing. Shaka Smart's making it happen with Marquette. Kentucky doesn't have Jim Calipari anymore, and Kentucky's in the top 10 in both polls. So, even UConn, who has struggled this year and has 4 losses, they're still in the top 25 after being back-to-back national champions. So I don't want to hear it. Memphis is 13-3. They're ranked 18th in the AP poll, and they're 17th in the coaches poll. And this is a team that is built up of a bunch of guys that used to be somewhere else. And I talked to Penny Hardaway about it at the beginning of the season. So I don't want to hear the excuses of, well, they got new guys. Well, it's a new coach. Well, it's this and that. It's not a new coach. It's a coach that went from being an assistant to being a head coach. That's the difference. Okay, but he's been there for a very long time. So you can't talk about it and say, well, this is all new. And you can't sit here and blame the transfer portal because Boeheim was losing 3 to 5 guys a season in his last few seasons, including Kadari Richmond. So you can't sit there and say it's the portal because it's been the portal. You can't sit here and say Adrian's a new coach because he ain't a new coach. This team is losing because there's a lack of enthusiasm, a lack of leadership, a lack of effort, a lack of planning, a lack of executing a plan if there even is a plan. And it's caused a lot of people to be frustrated that to the point where even if you have a free t-shirt, people are walking out of the dome with 7, 8 t-shirts because people didn't show up. People didn't show up. Even when you're handing out, think about that. When Syracuse is rocking, they never had to give away free stuff. They charge you full price. I remember that puppet that I got when they used to have all the stuff behind the bleachers that are on the field. They used to have all those things, and they'd have like those, that not just food, but they would have like set up in the middle on the field. They would have a bunch of different things that kids could buy and families could buy. And they had like these puppets where you had like a Syracuse, he had like an orange head and he could like punch and stuff and whatnot. You could buy these like really cool contraptions and whatnot. These toys, they don't have any of that anymore. But that was full price. Now they're literally giving away t-shirts, begging you to come to these games. No, I'm going to stay at home. So, I mean, Adrian's got to feel it, the staff's got to feel it, and these student athletes that have returned, which there's not many of them, have to feel it. And that is the reality for the Naheem McLeods and for Kyle Cuff Jr. and for J.J. Starling and for Chris Bell, that this team is not even a shell of what it used to be. There's no connection to that Syracuse of old. And Adrian should know better, and Alan Griffin should know better because they were on those teams. They played for Syracuse. They know what it's like. And sometimes you need a wake-up call, pun fully intended. Sometimes you need to have that moment. And maybe this is the moment. Maybe this is the moment that Alan and Adrian go out onto the court and they just, they go into Manly and they dribble and they start talking to each other and they're like, man, we forgot who we are. We forgot our essence. We forgot those moments. We need to get back. Let's go watch some old film. Let's go remember who we are. Everybody goes through that. How many movies have been made about people that forget who they are and they have to find themselves again? So I'm not saying it's impossible. It's not impossible. I gave the tough love. Now here's the love. I believe that Adrian Autry and Alan Griffin, they can remember these moments. They can remember those days. They can know the things that work. Reach out to your brethren. Okay, that Syracuse Orange Brotherhood for men's basketball is strong. How do I know that? Because I know a ton of those guys and they love each other. Reach out to those guys. Reach out to your history. Talk to each other. Remember those moments. Remember when the Mighty Ducks forgot how they were the Mighty Ducks? You got to figure out how you're the Mighty Ducks again. Syracuse has to figure out how they were Syracuse again. You got to remember who you are and stop trying to be somebody else. You got to stop trying to be somebody else. Don't try to beat, this is what it's become and this is bad. No. You got the team you got. You got talent. Okay? You have talent. People ask me why I don't buy into the hype. Why you don't talk about this guy? He's a 5-star. He's blah, blah, blah. Because I want to see them play. And if Syracuse would let us in, I'd like to see them practice because I used to watch them practice when Hop was there. So I miss Syracuse knowing their essence. We've always been blue collar. We've always had a chip on our shoulders. That's my city. That's who we are. We're that team that you count out. Even when we're good, you say we suck. We can't handle it. But Syracuse, this team right now, they lost that fight. They lost that chip. They lost that edge. They lost that physicality. They lost that taking that anger and channeling that anger into constructive, good energy. Y'all need to come together. And this is Adrian's job. It's Adrian's job to remember who he is, to remember who this program, what this program is. Not that he can't put his stamp on it, but he needs to remember who they are. And the only way that you know how you got to where you got to is to remember where you came from. So he needs to go back to where he came from and remember. And Alan Griffin needs to remember. And they need to talk to the rest of the staff about remembering what this team is and what they can be. JJ grew up in this community. He knows what Syracuse basketball is. He needs to step up and talk about this. It's not a forgotten thing. And especially in today's world, go on YouTube. You can pull this stuff up. It's easy to find old Syracuse basketball games. Go back and remember who you are. Remember who you were. Remember why you're here. Adrian told me years and years and years ago he wanted to be a head coach. That was the plan. You got it now. You got it now. Humble yourself. Take a step back. Yeah, you're the head coach. But guess what? Maybe you're not the smartest guy in the room. Maybe you need to ask these questions. Maybe you need to understand this. Maybe you need to kind of just take a deep breath and go back to something else. Maybe you need to just reset. Let's go to the 2-3 zone. Whatever you need to do, because the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. It's not working. And it hasn't been working. And I don't want to see Adrian lose. And I don't want to see Griff lose. And I don't want to see the staff lose. I don't want to see, everybody out there doing their thing that has been there for such a long time. And I don't want to see the new guys. And I don't want to see this team, these student athletes. They have a certain amount of time that they're in college, and some of them will never play professionally. I don't want them to waste their time. So leadership has to happen. Somebody needs to walk into that room, and they need to establish a nucleus. They need to establish who this team is, because they're 17 games in, and I don't care what they tell you. They don't know who they are yet. And that's okay. It's not okay to be 18 games in and not know who you are. That's what's not okay. I want to get into the rest of my conversations with the guys. So here is my conversation with Jair Davis. Team at this point, where is the leadership coming from? I spoke with Kyle, and he said that him and Eddie have been through a bunch of different wars before they got onto this team, so he feels like it should come from them. Where do you feel like it should come from? Where is the leadership coming from?
I think everybody in some way, shape, or form is a leader. Whether you're a manager, whether you're a coach, whether you're a player, I think that we all have the responsibility to be leaders. So, I think it's something that falls on all of our shoulders.
And then as far as you playing time, just what you could say about, have you felt like you can get into a rhythm when you're out there? Or do you feel like there's maybe a tighter leash, or how do you kind of see everything?
Naturally, it's easier to get in a rhythm, I'm out there longer, I get the ball a little more, get some more shots and stuff like that. So, I'm definitely in a better rhythm, I think. But regardless of that, I got to do is make sure we keep playing hard and trying to impact the game.
What can you say to, this team, obviously you weren't here last year, there's a lot of new faces here, of the guys who return, like Kyle Cuff, like Chris Bell, like JJ Starling. Do you feel like their voice is maybe something that you guys can lean on at this point because they were in this process before with Autry? Do you feel like anything comes from them specifically?
Yeah, for sure. I think they do a good job of leading, but I also think it's on all of us. All of us have played a lot of college basketball games. So, of course they played here, but we've all played different places, all played a lot of games. So I think it's on all of us, stick with each other and just keep going hard in practice.
After a loss, people like to go negative, especially the media. What positives do you see with this team?
We gotta just keep getting better. We're playing basketball at the end of the day. I think that we need to all make sure to just keep having fun and keep getting better. And, every single day, take every day serious with the preparation and just continually get better as a team.
They say the mental side can affect everything. So how do you guys stay mentally strong through something like this?
I think we have to, ignore outside noise that may be negative. Ignore even your own personal thoughts that might be negative about, yourself or how you're playing. And we hope that just continue to keep going hard, like I said. Just keep.
So that coming from Jair Davis, speaking on the fact of just staying positive. Jair, just what you can say about staying in it, just keeping that positive energy going. And, remembering, like you said, and that's something I talked about, going off of thinking about our conversation last night, to remember to have fun. Remember to have fun. Why did you start playing basketball in the first place? Hopefully it was because you like it, right? Because if you hate something, you're not going to be good at it. If you hate doing something, You might be good. You're not going to be happy. So, I mean, remember to have fun. Remember, you like this game, right? You love this game. This game means something to you. It's hard to get up for something you don't care about. So remember to have fun. Keep that mental good. Keep the positive energy going. Eddie Lampkin Jr., speaking of some positive energy, he got a double-double in this atrocious game where Syracuse lost 85-61 to Louisville. This is what Eddie had to say after the game. Eddie, it's been a long time since Syracuse has had a true big man. Just what you can say about how you feel like that role has kind of developed for you up to this point.
Man, I really want to win. I wouldn't say that like it's a role that I'm doing. It's basketball. I got a job I got to do every night and try to win, try to get my teammates up and get them shots, create screens, get them JJ down here, JC buckets. But I say it's amazing to be in the position that I am. I just really wish we could win right now. We're just trying to figure out what we need to do to play for 40 minutes.
Just spoke with Kyle about it. You said, this team's got to play for a full 40 minutes. Kyle just said we got to play for 40, not 30, not 25. What is it about this team that you feel like there's moments where you're not playing it all out as hard as you can?
I don't really know. Sometimes I don't see it really. I be so locked in on like my guys helping the guards and stuff. So I just like the ball is just being weird, but I just feel like we just can't give up offensive rebounds as much as we did, and just being able to go for 40. That's all I really just locked in. I just say you gotta just be locked in for 40 minutes, not just play.
Kyle said the leadership has to come from guys like him and you because you've been in wars, you've been on other teams, and you've seen a lot of success. Would you agree with that? And what can you say from your experience you can maybe help this team with?
I say. Obviously, yeah, I know I didn't play a lot of games, played big games and beat Kansas at home. But I'll just say I feel like everybody just needs to be a unit and just be one. It doesn't really matter who putting the ball in. And we just got to be able to want it more and just be hungry. That's why I say just be more hungry and not just worry about our personal stats and just win. That's all that matters.
So Eddie Lampkin talking about being hungry as a team, being more hungry as a team, not just caring about personal stats, but to just want to win. That it doesn't matter who puts the ball in the basket. It matters of getting that victory. Like he said, I just want to win. And so coming off of that, he's somebody who's been in other places. A lot of these guys have been in other places. Kyle Cuff Jr. has been in other places, and he's been a bright spot to a lot of people. Those are, if I'm hearing anything positive from the fans, they're like, man, I like Kyle Cuff Jr. I like what he's doing. I like his effort. I like his energy. He's the only guy out there playing defense. Somebody just wrote into the show and talked about the fact that Kyle Cuff should be a starter because they think that he's a bright spot on this team. Well, I had the opportunity to speak with Kyle last season, and I had the opportunity to speak with him last night. This is what he had to say. Kyle, just what you could say about kind of coming through this process. Sometimes you've been on the floor, sometimes you haven't. And I know last year you were kind of waiting your turn as well. Just what you can say about maybe how your role has expanded at this point.
I feel like I just got to be there for my team no matter what. Like, whether I play, whether I don't. It's a blessing that my role is expanding, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't mean anything if we don't win. So I just want to be there for my team, make sure we get some wins in there. Why do you feel like it's expanded? What do you feel like Red's seen from your play in practice? I'm tough. I'm playing hard. I'm not giving up on plays, like, no matter what. Like, yeah, I got that flagrant foul, but, like, the way I look at it is I didn't give up on that play. Like, they already scored 1,000 points already. I'm not going to let them get 1,001, 1,002. So. Where does the leadership come from at this point? Do you feel like some of that comes from you? Does it come from JJ? Does it come from Chris, guys that returned? Is it from one of the newcomers? Where's that leadership right now? I feel like leadership got to come from me, got to come from some of the older guys like Eddie, who've been in that war, been down there in the trenches for real. Like Eddie went to TCU, Colorado. When I was a freshman at Kansas, I played against Eddie when he was at TCU. So, like, we kind of know a little bit of what it is to be really in that big, like, some big wars. Like, I won national championships. So I understand. My team came back from 16 down at half. So we understand what it takes, and we just got to keep rallying behind each other and keep on pushing. Honestly, for me, just what the message has been from Red after a game like this. We're right there. Like, we defend at a high rate, but we have to keep it going. We don't play for 40 minutes at a time. We play for maybe 30 minutes, 25 minutes. We got to make it 40. That's a 40-minute game. We got to keep playing 40 minutes at all times.
Kyle. That coming from Kyle Cuff Jr. saying, we can't play 25. We can't play 30. We got to play 40 minutes. And that's something that I absolutely positively agree with, and I think the fan base does as well. We're going to take a quick step aside for a fast break. When we come back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Ohio State takes center stage as I have the opportunity to share with you my Q&As with the offensive and defensive coordinators of the Ohio State Buckeyes ahead of the College Football Playoff National Championship in this historic 12-team format year. Cannot wait for the game that's going to be this Monday, January 20th, 2025, which will be down in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm heading back to Atlanta by the grace of God, and many thanks to God. Of course, thanks to hard work, dedication, determination, fantastic people that God's put me in front of over the years and helped me cross paths with. And, of course, many thanks to the College Football Playoff for giving me the opportunity to be in for not just the first round, but the quarterfinal round and the semifinal round and the national championship. So in this historic 12-team format for the first time ever, having 12 teams for a college football playoff national championship in the FBS, aka NCAA Division 1A, I have been a part of the ride all the way through, and I thank the college football playoff for that under God. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. And when we come back, you will hear from Ohio State ahead of that college football playoff national championship game against Notre Dame. You'll hear from offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Chip Kelly, and you will also hear from defensive coordinator Jim Knowles and what we like to call DT on the CFP here on Wake Up Call inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday for you to go and see their new and used vehicles. You can get in touch with them by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com, and I suggest you do that today to see what they have for new and used, and of course different specials going on as well. And you can give a call to Great Lakes Honda City today by getting in touch with them in sales at 315-979-8588. That's 315-979-8588 to get in touch with Great Lakes Honda City. And for service, you can call 315-954-4525. That's 315-954-4525. Great Lakes Honda City. Find out more information on our exclusive studio partner by going to greatlakeshondacity.com. With that being said, in this last portion of today's broadcast, a wake-up call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City studios, it's time to head back into DT on the CFP, my coverage of the college football playoff. Coach, the decision to come over to Ohio State, just reflecting on that hindsight 2020 and what you can say about this experience and the opportunity that presented itself from Coach Day.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And I think just really you think about as a coach the day-to-day, so your ability to what it's like every day you're in the Woody and to be with this staff and everybody that's in this building and then to be around these players on a daily basis is it's what's made this thing really, really special. So excited that we get an opportunity to be together for one more week because this is an extremely close-knit group. I think the connection from the players to the coaches and players to players, coaches to coaches is really kind of special and one of the reasons that we've had the success that we've had. So we're going to enjoy these last couple of days here in the Woody and then get on a plane and go to Atlanta and play a game on Monday night.
That coming from Chip Kelly here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Hearing from Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, speaking on the closeness, the connection between the student athletes and the coaching staff and why he believes that has helped the team to have success. And of course, Ohio State heads into this game on the offensive side of the ball with a lot of talent in the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I was able to see this firsthand. Obviously, Will Howard out there doing his thing and his ability to, and I spoke with him. You can go back and watch that on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. If you go to our YouTube channel, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I have a college football playoff playlist on my YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch all of my interviews. It puts everything in one place, so we compartmentalize on YouTube a lot of different things that you can go back and see, including the college football playoff. Right now, if you go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, you will find a bunch of different playlists, including our on-site shows, college football playoff, Binghamton University for our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, the same for BSC Syracuse and Moyne, the American Athletic Conference, the Grateful playlist, which are video messages that came in from people all over the country celebrating, and I thank them for this, my 21 years in broadcasting. The ACC, you can go to that tab. You can go to our NFL tab, our Syracuse football, and so on and so forth. We got a bunch of them that are here that you can go check out. Our fantasy football playlist, our Syracuse basketball playlist. So there's a lot of things to go and check out, including our college football playoff playlist on our YouTube channel, which is at Wake Up Call DT. So make sure that you go and check that out today and make sure that you like and subscribe while you're there. We appreciate everyone who has and everyone who continues to connect with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. With that being said, it's time to jump into the defensive side of the ball and have a look and a listen to my Q&A with Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator of Ohio State in DT on the CFP. Coach, Coach, obviously the strip sack and the return for the touchdown for Jack Sawyer puts him on the map to a lot of people around the country. But just what you can say about his day-to-day on and off the field lunch pail mentality, his faith, and who he's been to this team outside of just simply one play.
Yeah, he's done it since I've gotten here. He's just a great young man, personality, respect, work, smiles, can be tough when it's time to be tough. He can have fun when it's time to have fun. He's the kind of guy you want to coach, that you can always count on. Because if it's a fist fight, he'll fight. You know, if it's a finesse, he'll finesse. You know, if somebody needs to be talked to on the team or something in the locker room, he'll do that. So he's just a consummate team guy.
And that coming from Jim Knowles speaking on Jack Sawyer, who had the strip sack and 83-yard return off of that fumble from Quinn Ewers of Texas, that return for a touchdown by Jack Sawyer that sealed the deal for the Ohio State Buckeyes in a 28-14 win in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic that I was on site on location for in the college football playoff semifinal round of this historic 12-team format that is a 12-team format for the first time ever. So Jack Sawyer, the longest fumble return and longest fumble return for a touchdown in college football playoff history. Not in Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic history, just that, but looking at the fact of college football playoff history, of all of the college football playoff games in this new postseason national champion format that we've had after the BCS of over a decade now. He now has the longest fumble recovery. So even if he didn't score the touchdown, the 83 yards is the longest fumble recovery return in amount of yards and the longest fumble recovery return for a touchdown in college football playoff history for Jack Sawyer, the 83-yard score to win 28-14 and to be that exclamation point on the victory for Ohio State. And really, I mean, the nail in the coffin was the interception off of Quinn Ewers after that, but the exclamation point probably has to be Jack Sawyer. There was a lot of moments in this game, but when he did that, it was like, yeah, it's over. So it still gives me chills to think about it now, but to hear what Jim Knowles said, listen, this is a guy that if there's going to be a fist fight, he's going to fist fight. If it's finesse, it's finesse. If somebody needs to be talked to on the team, then you can trust him to do that. Calling Jack Sawyer essentially a jack of all trades, pun fully intended on that. So good to hear Jim Knowles talk about Jack Sawyer being more than just one play, because I think that's important for us to know. Yeah, a lot of people know Jack Sawyer's name now, but he's done more than just have that one play. So let's show respect where respect has been earned, and that's why I want to ask Jim Knowles about it, and I appreciate that response from Coach Knowles as well as a response from Chip Kelly. Looking back on the season for Ohio State, I spoke about how they played a bunch of unranked teams. They lost to Oregon by a point, and you're like, okay, so Boise State lost by 3, Ohio State lost to Oregon by 1. So Oregon was ripe for a loss. And I said that. I said Oregon at some point in this college football playoff is going to lose. When I didn't pick Ohio State against Oregon in the college football playoff, something inside of me was like, really? So really, Dan, you're not going to pick Ohio State in this one? But they ended up proving me wrong and getting that victory, losing to Michigan 13-10 in a 5-loss Michigan team. You're sitting here scratching your head. But I said, if a team goes and they play and they earn it, you give respect where respect has been earned. I just said that about Jack Sawyer. I say that about Ohio State as a team. I've been critical of the Big Ten and Notre Dame getting an unfair advantage in the rankings, but that's not the student athlete's fault. That's not their fault. They just go out and play the games. And these student athletes that have gone out and play these games and the coaches that have coached these games, like Ryan Day, the head coach, and Chip Kelly, the OC and the quarterback's coach, and Jim Knowles, the defense coordinator, all of Ohio State, they beat Tennessee. Now, Tennessee was a weaker Tennessee, a more wobbly Tennessee than they were in the last couple years, but they beat Tennessee fair and square of the SEC. So respect for that. Then they go out and they beat Oregon and Texas back-to-back. I have said that Oregon and Texas, in my opinion, that those two teams were at one point the best two teams in the country. I didn't say that that was necessarily the case at the end of the season that I thought those were the two hottest teams out there, but I said that these two teams for a portion of the season were the best two teams in the country. And Ohio State didn't just beat them. They beat them in the same season, and they beat them back-to-back. We're not talking about they beat the best team in the country last year, best team in the country this year. They beat who I considered for a majority of the season to be the two best teams in all of FBS of 130-plus schools, Oregon and Texas, the two best teams that I thought were in the country, arguably for a good portion of the season, definitely in the middle part of the season. They beat them both back-to-back. So you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Well, Oregon was the only undefeated team in FBS. They beat them the second time around. And then they beat a good Texas team that I got to see against Arizona State. And I said Texas couldn't make a lot of mistakes if they wanted to play Ohio State and beat Ohio State. And they made mistakes, including that strip sack by Jack Sawyer. And that's why they lost. Think about that. They were on the 1-yard line on that drive, and they didn't punch it in. Talking about Texas. And it ends up being an 83-yard return in the other direction for Ohio State after mistakes by Texas on that drive. So Ohio State has all the respect in the world from me because they didn't beat one. They beat both of the teams that I considered to be arguably the two best teams in the country for a good portion of the season. They beat both of those teams back-to-back. So who's the team to beat? I think it's Ohio State. And I have a lot of respect for them for the work that they put forward. And, I mean, their streak of Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas says a lot. How many teams are going to beat those schools this year, 1, 2, 3, in a row? It's not an easy feat. It's not an easy task. And Ohio State has shown that they are prepared for it. Take it down the SEC, take it down former Pac-12, now Big Ten, Oregon, and take it down former Big 12, now SEC, Texas, which is hard to even think. I still think Texas is in the Big 12, but you beat two SEC schools, and you beat a Pac-12 school and a powerhouse school in Oregon, who's been the face of the Pac-12, who's now in the Big Ten. You beat them all in a row, and you gave Oregon their only loss of the season. Respect. Respect is earned. And Ohio State has earned my respect this season in a big, big way, beyond a doubt. So shout out to them. Shout out to the work that they've done. Shout out to the efforts that they put forward. And it's setting up for a great college football playoff with Ohio State on one side and Notre Dame on the other. And I think it's going to be huge. We're going to talk about it more tomorrow with Papa Joe in hour 1 and Bob Casulo in hour 2. A lot of great things coming up here on Wake Up Call. And I'm grateful to be able to bring you DT on the CFP here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios and our continued coverage of the college football playoff from the opening gate of the first round all the way through to the national championship game. We'll be back after this inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios to wrap up the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315 487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, bringing you everything you need for your sports and trading card world. They got it all, folks. They're the only place that I know that has every MLB, every NFL, and every NBA team right there on their back wall with their own box. You can come into GG Cards and Breaks and go and sift through your favorite teams and find something special for yourself or for a loved one right there at GG Cards and Breaks. Let's say you're a Toronto Raptors fan, or let's just say you're a Vince Carter fan. Maybe you're not a Toronto Raptors fan, but you like Vince Carter. Well, you can go out there to GG Cards and Breaks and look through their Toronto box and try and find yourself something good, something Vince Carter related, as an example. Or you can go into the Yankees box and say, I'm going to try and find a Giancarlo Stanton, or I'm going to try and find a Derek Jeter. You never know what's going to be in those boxes, and they do so many great things, and it's a tireless effort, folks. Listen, it's not something that's an easy thing to do, to put together these boxes. It's very, very time-inducing, right? There's so much that they put in to putting these boxes together, and it means the most. Honestly, it means the world to me, because who does that? Who's going to take the time to put all this together for us? But they do. And I appreciate it. I respect it. And it means a lot to me that GG Cards and Breaks has the effort that they have to do things like that. They might seem like a little thing to you, but it's a big thing to me of having those boxes. Then they have their singles. They have their graded cards, their packs, then the boxes that you can open. They have all the supplies that you need for your cards. When it comes to GG Cards and Breaks, they are second to none to me. With basketball, baseball, football, soccer, hockey, and so on and so forth, you're going to find so many things at GG Cards and Breaks. You'll find Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, all there in one location, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Get yourself out there to GG Cards and Breaks today. Let them know that DT sent you. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. And their trade night this month is going to be at the Wildcat Sports Pub. So we'll see you tomorrow night, January 16th, 6 to 9:30 p.m. That's right, we're adding a half an hour. 6 to 9:30 p.m. Great food, great people. Awesome time out at GG Cards and Breaks trade night at the Wildcat, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. I'll be up on stage, so come out and see me. I look forward to seeing you there. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you stay warm, folks. It's definitely cold here in central and upstate New York, so I hope you stay warm, and I hope you stay well, and I hope that you have a wonderful, beautiful day here at your midweek in early January. Well, I should say mid-January, right? Because we're in the teens right now. Hard to believe. But let's celebrate the day. Let's celebrate the time. And if you'd like, I'd like to say a prayer to end today's broadcast. So with that being said, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today and the opportunity to share in this time with my listeners and my viewers. I want to thank you with the opportunity to just do what I love and love what I do. I hope the people that are watching and listening are doing the same. If they're not, then I hope that you guide and guard them on their path to doing what they love and loving what they do as well. I pray for health. I pray for safety. I pray for happiness for us all today, tonight, and so on, whether we're traveling, staying put, or both. I hope that we have all of your blessings, all of your gifts, to do your will and be well, to put your will over being well, but may they go hand in hand. May our day, night, and so on be long, fun, and go by slowly. May we heal from whatever has been in our lives that's been ailing us in any way, shape, or form, mentally, emotionally, socially, economically, and so on and so forth, physically. May we heal completely and for good. No matter what, may we heal through you. And may we handle well whatever comes our way in and out of our control, including these fires ending in Los Angeles and the rebuilding beginning. May we lose no more lives. May those that have passed on be up in heaven from the fires, from anything. May everyone who's passed on that we love be in heaven with their loved ones that have also passed on and with you, God. May we be safe and sound here on earth with our loved ones. And may we all be connected even to those that have passed on, because dying you destroyed our death, and rising, Jesus, you restored our life, creating a bridge that seems impossible, but with you all things are possible. I love you, God. I pray for an end to those fires. I pray for an end to cancer, an end to AIDS, to HIV, to COVID, to the flu, to all the things going on, to Alzheimer's, to dementia, to the loss of memory in general. I pray for healing in all ways, shapes, and forms, for Jerry, for Mr. D, for Jimmer, for Tim Green, for everybody in Los Angeles and those connected to them, for my mom and dad, for all my loved ones, for Lily, for myself, and for everybody watching and listening today and all of your loved ones. God bless you all. God bless all creation. In Jesus' most precious name we pray, and I thank you, God, above all things, and I love you above that. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Have a beautiful, wonderful Wednesday. God bless you all. Thanks to my guests, Adam Zaczkowski. Thank you to, of course, my opportunity to speak with and my guests, Adrian Autry, being able to share that with you. So thanks to Adrian Autry of Syracuse Orange men's basketball. Thanks to Jair Davis, a forward on the team. Thanks to guard Kyle Cuff Jr. and center Eddie Lampkin Jr. And thanks to Ohio State for setting up this Zoom opportunity so that I could have time with offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Chip Kelly and defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. Thanks to Chip and thanks to Jim. Thanks to all of you being here with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, as well as on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. Thank you for being here with us. And, of course, once we go live, we hop into the archive, adding specials there. So thank you for watching and listening on Amazon, or pardon me, for listening, I should say, on Amazon Music, as well as Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on any one of these outlets, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure while you're there to subscribe and follow so you never miss a broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you all for your support and for always being there. Big time thanks to Brooklyn Pickle down in North Carolina. Shout out to the Pinehurst location on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And many thanks to our team of partners in Central and Upstate New York, Great Lakes, Honda City, Carvel, DeWitt. You can get a buy one, get one every Wednesday. You know that we have my DT Dolphin, which is my own Sunday exclusively at Carvel DeWitt, the longest standing Carvel franchise in America. And that's where our Sunday is. You can't get it at any other Carvel anywhere in the world, anywhere in the community, only at Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York, 7 days a week. And on Wednesdays, my DT Dolphin or buy one, get one. Don't let the cold weather fool you. It tastes just as good even when it's cold outside. Mint chocolate chip, green for the Dolphins, hot fudge, whipped cream, and a cherry, topped off with green and gold sprinkles and a chocolate Dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. Get the DT Dolphin today and every Wednesday. Buy one, get one. The Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Servomation, Ma and Pa's, Avicoli's, Mother's Cupboard, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Brian's Landing, and I want to go back to Mother's Cupboard here, and I want you to go back to Mother's Cupboard because you can get my exclusive breakfast sandwich only at this Syracuse staple restaurant, Mother's Cupboard. Can't get it anywhere else in the world. Bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Cut it up and have it with some syrup at 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. Let them know the DT sent you their way. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of the Moyne College Dolphins. We love our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Moyne College. You can find the Dolphins every Wednesday, like today, during Dolphin time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. Find them all right here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call. And you can go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Moyne playlist. You can also find the Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com and fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Bobcat Buzz every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with student athletes, coaches, and administration. And of course, you can go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Bearcats every single Tuesday during Bearcat time, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, with student athletes, coaches, and administration all throughout the year joining us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats. You can find our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I hope you have a wonderful, blessed, and beautiful day. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, and many thanks again to Adam Zaczkowski of Moyne Men's and Women's Swimming and Diving, their head coach on this historic first ever Division I victory that going to the men's swimming and diving team at Canisius just a few days ago. Thank you to Adam for the call right after it happened, and thank you to Adam for being a part of the show today, and to all of our coaches and student athletes at Moyne and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. God bless you, and thank you. And thank you to President Dr. Linda Lemura and the new leader of athletics, Phil Brown. Appreciate you all. And to the board and to everyone at Moyne, we thank you so much. So big time thanks to Adam Zaczkowski once again, and to his staff and all of his student athletes. And thanks to Adrian Autry, as well as Jair Davis, Eddie Lampkin Jr., and Kyle Cuff Jr. of Syracuse Orange men's basketball. And thank you to the Ohio State Buckeyes and offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach Chip Kelly, as well as defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. For now, on Wake Up Call, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. And as you always know, God bless, no stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon. Stay safe and have a beautiful day.